Good afternoon, folks. This is John Pettipas. It's 2 minutes past 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the afternoon now of Thursday, the 4th day of March, 2021. And I didn't expect to make back-to-back videos, so this afternoon I'm going to first lay Mrs. Tilly Landry of Pettipas, Richmond County in beautiful Cape Breton Island. Beautiful Cape Breton Island. I once again stand up and applaud the wonderful lady in Pettipas, Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia. Happy 88th birthday, mademoiselle. Lots of oil workers now, madame, and fishermen and hard-working men and women. All the best. Joyous birthday to you. Now, this afternoon, I'm doing a video on oil. I love oil. Hydrocarbon man. I love oil and natural gas, being offshore, on land, pipelines, fracked, you name it. And I thought, how to get this message across? And I just get off a call, I listened in, and I'm just going to go over some key points here. This is in particular one firm, okay? Exxon team, works moving up United States ahead of schedule, should see significantly improved financial results. They take and number of rigs deployed. Weather has impact them in the fourth quarter. They take and present price is unsustainable. We'll work with our customers. They operate in 3 different continents. Operating efficiencies. ESG, 98% operating efficiencies, less emissions. The way we use our energy generate. This is a fracking company in this case. Industry coming to recognize there's a need for better pricing. Okay, keys to the company's turnaround. They're getting better. Industry's getting better prices now in natural gas and oil due to the extremely cold weather we had in. Oh God. I was speaking one day to somebody in BC, somebody in Calgary, Alberta, 2 in Saskatchewan, and buddy in just outside of Winnipeg was doing a video and was trying to start his tractor, cold as could be. So cold weather. There's cold, very cold in Chicago that I was speaking to somebody, cold in Montreal, cold in Fredericton. Okay, so when it gets cold, people turn up that natural gas, price of natural gas goes up. Now, how to explain this to people? I remember as a kid, back in the 70s, and wages were still quite low at that time, and people had bigger families than they have now in rural Nova Scotia. Too bad we don't have as many large families as used to, because they're wonderful people. You tend to find very happy people come from large families. Everybody pitches in and learns to share and get along with one another, generally. And so anyway, there was food inflation coming. And they had the NDP, you had David Lewis in Ottawa, then you had Ed Broadbent, and you had Jeremy Ackerman in Nova Scotia, and then you had Lexi McDonough, the Silver Spoon Socialist. It's like the SS, the Silver Spoon Socialist, SSS, Silver Spoon Socialist. 3 S's, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, Silver Spoon Socialist. Anyway, well, we shouldn't be selling groceries for profits, the food that goes in your mouth. Blah, blah, blah. When you go into supermarkets back then, you got bread, and you might get a package of donuts, and whatever. Okay, and you might get whole wheat bread or raisin bread, and that was about it. But now you go in a supermarket, boy, there's fruit and vegetables in the middle of winter. I couldn't afford to eat like that, but you get beans out of season, you get strawberries, I love frozen Nova Scotia, good old Nova Scotia wild blueberries. But you can get frozen blueberries in from all over the place, and not frozen, fresh blueberries from, they come out of Chile, and they come out of, in the wintertime, strawberries out of California, Mexico, California, and so on. And you get exotic fruit that comes in. God, you'll have kiwis from Australia or South Africa. And I'm not against those areas developing their economy, doing well. It's the miracle of the modern transportation system. You can bring perishable stuff so far and still sell it. But You go to the supermarket now, it's not just bananas, apples, and oranges. You can get kiwi, and you got pears out of season, you get chili, I mentioned chili again, you get plums and peaches back in February. Now that's middle of winter when they're pruning trees here, if there's not too much snow, you get plums and peaches. So how to explain to oil industry people? Now you go in the supermarket, and you can get your white bread, your raisin bread, your whole wheat bread, you get your multigrain bread, you get your fisherman's bread, you get bagels and croissants and you just name it. There's all kinds of great types of bread you never had before. Italian bread, rye bread, French bread, baguettes. Okay, you go around the store. There's a deli now. Before you got the deli, you had bologna and wieners, a couple of brands of wieners, bologna, probably Maple Leaf bologna, which is a very good product, and some bacon. Maybe you got some salami. They might cut it for you. It comes in a package of ham slices, and that was about it. Now you go there, you got pastrami, and they got this, and then cut that. And if you've the money for it, taste for that stuff, the deli has probably cheeses. There was cheese, there was cheddar cheese, and mozzarella cheese, and Kraft Air compliment cheese slices, whatever. Now you can get all these different cheeses. Swiss and blah, 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 and Gouda, and all the stuff. So that is private enterprise. I'm going to go back to the bread. I know somebody, my right-hand lady for years, her brother-in-law worked for a large company, Ready Bake, and doing a corporate restructuring. He was there since the time he was a teenager, and he got early buyout, and he was working for consulting firms, sent him to Cuba. Communist Cuba, that communist hellhole of Cuba. And in Cuba, they were making bread, and you can make bread basically with yeast and some grease, and it was one step up from grease you grease your tractor with or your car. I'm not making this up. There's some sort of oil or grease went into bread, a bit of sugar, because they have sugar cane there actually, so sugar wouldn't be, and flour, and their bread was put on shelves. No brown paper bags, no plastic bags, just on a shelf, okay? Now, the people take and they come and buy that bread. There was no sanitation, it was flies. And to top it off, their bread started to mold and spoil. The reason the bread started to mold and spoil is they had ladies at evening, let's call them, they were prostitutes. The economy was that bad. They were prostitutes, and the German or Spanish or Russian visitors were availing themselves of the services. And the police secret police got hold of that, and they shoved all the prostitutes in the area because people were taking pictures. Then the prostitutes had the beloved US dollar, and they could buy the bread. The local people couldn't afford to buy it. So if you want communism, you have one type of bread of questionable ingredients on a shelf exposed to all the flies, if you have the money to buy it. In Canada, the United States, and Western world, you can buy all these different types. So I'm going on a bit long here. I want to get back on track. But I want to point out the oil industry is very efficient. This morning they had I noticed at noon hour, it was a clip off the business news of this morning. They had the president of ExxonMobil on, I think it's Mr. Woods, is it? Ward Woods. And even with all this talk about CO2 emissions and controlling blah, 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 in next 30 to 40 years, not even that, by 2040, 20 years away, not to go 30, 40 years, and when in 20 years, we're 2021 already, so really 19 years, by 2040, we will run out of oil. There'll be no oil for transportation. You better not think you're coming home, Missy, tonight from work with your electric car with a windmill on top of it, or sunny environmentalist with your ass warm in university, that you're going to drive your big SUV with the girlfriend to the restaurant or show as the country gets opened up again. They take with a windmill on it, make your own electricity. Doesn't work like that, kids. Okay? You need oil, diesel, in case of oil, you need gasoline, oil to make gasoline for automobiles, transportation. You need diesel to run the transportation industry, in trains and what have you, and you need jet fuel to get you from point A to point B. One of those radical left in the United States saying they're going to ban airplanes, going to ban airplanes. And somebody one night on a show said, I can't wait to book the first train ticket from California to Hawaii. I can't wait to book the first plane ticket from California to Hawaii. Now, the oil industry is getting very efficient. In the question and answer period, they're 30% more efficient. Both the producer's side, they're looking for efficiencies. So when they go in there do a frack job, you got to be efficient. I remember years ago, Ian Sinclair. Ian Sinclair was the president of what was then Canadian Pacific. That was CP Rail, Fairmont Hotels. They had a Canadian Pacific airline at one time. Avnor Forest Products, CP Forest Products come out of that. There's a couple more companies came in. CP Ships, before the company was all subdivided, and they all went good in their own. Then anyway, he said, they a show one time called Venture on the CBC of all places. This goes back, I'm talking 35, 40 years. I don't believe in running trains partially full. If that 3 locomotives can hold 50 cars, I don't want 25 or 30 cars going down the rail. I know a guy that's just acquired a big company here, a big transportation company, that was in the liquid carrying business and still is. Very smart guy. And he was not prone to having trucks go up the Cabot Trail delivering fuel to the gas stations half full or 3/4 full. You got to have efficiencies. And that is what you're seeing when companies here. We're 30% more efficient. Extremely key point. The industry, let's talk the oil and gas industry, on both the producer side, the customers of this company, and the oil and service side. So they are lining up their customers. They don't do customer for Johnny's oil company here and move over to Manitoba to do one for Bob's oil company, then move down to North Dakota to do one for Ben's oil company. They do it in sections. The industry is much more efficient. So if you value your way of life, the luxuries and overall comfort that most, maybe not, we don't all live in luxury, but at least the comforts, let's put it that way, I'll take back the word luxury. The comforts of the lifestyle we've come to know, you must have oil and gas. And one more thing, the world is adding a lot more people. See? Communist China, despite the sin of 1 child per person for family, supposedly. Indian subcontinent. Indonesia, a couple of 100 million people. Africa. The Middle East. The Middle East uses a lot of oil now. Uses it to make electricity for cooling. It's not a luxury. If you're in Texas or Arizona, or if you're in Mexico or in the Middle East, in the Arabian Peninsula, air conditioning in the summer is not a luxury. Summer in those areas starts in March or April, not June and July or August like in Nova Scotia. So anyway, I just want to wrap this up and point out that the industry is getting much more efficient. How they generate, sometimes they use what they call it's a special fuel comes in. I have it in my notes here. They use sometimes actually they're doing jobs in some sites where an oil rig will actually use natural gas from the field they're working on to run that oil rig. So people's all got their knickers in a knot. I was going to say another word, but family television, I got to watch my 4-letter words. Their knickers in a knot. Okay, not just the furthest I'm going to go. They take knickers in a knot over carbon footprint and impact. They're using a natural gas to run some of these rigs. And they can do them in oil drilling rigs. They can run them in a pad without moving them and do directional drilling. So the point I want to make, to sum this all up, I've gone on quite a bit longer than I expected. The industry is a lot more efficient than it used to be. And low prices mean that you're going to have some efficiencies to stay in business. And now that the price of oil is coming back dramatically, which is very good for industry very good for the economy, period. I was speaking to somebody today. We figure in this area, not by number of people, but by the total amount of earned income, we figure about 35-40%, as high as between 30 and 40%. I'm going to push it. 35-38%, 40% earned income in industrial Cape Breton, industrial Cape Breton, many parts of Newfoundland, and Darnwall, Tooting, all over Nova Scotia, from the 25 to 60-year-olds, is coming from the Alberta oil patch. So those that say they don't like the oil industry, if you like the Rockefeller kids, something like Trudeau, Pierre Elliott Trudeau's was a trust fund baby, and the kids are trust fund grandbabies, and the grandkids, Justin is his kids, not his grandkids, children, are trust fund great grandbabies of their grandfather and great grandfather. So the Rockefellers would go to the Exxon Oil meeting and blah blah blah. We don't like this. We don't like this. Well, tough. You know, you don't get perfection in the world. So we must have an oil industry if we're going to enjoy the comforts of life. And with that, an industry is infinitely more efficient, and they're getting more efficient by the day, by the week. It's just good business. Their very survival depends upon it. And with that, it's John Pettipas. Got to wrap this up. Right now, it's about 20 minutes past 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the afternoon of Thursday, which is the 4th day of February. Till next time, God bless the oil and gas industry, the oil service industry, the fracking industry, and the pipeline industry. We love hydrocarbons. I unabashedly love oil, natural gas, and the oil service industry. Keep in mind, all the best, and God bless. Thank you very much. Share this video. Spread it around. Spread it around your buddies at the lunchroom. Ladies in the secretarial pool. All of you. Spread the video around far and wide. Thank you very much. All the best. Greatly appreciated. Tremendous help.